ஓகே, ரீனல் சிஸ்டமில் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஃபுல் MCQs, அதாவது ப்ரீவியஸ் இயர் கொஸ்டின்ஸ், ரிப்பீட்டட் கொஸ்டின்ஸ், சிலபஸில் இருக்கக்கூடிய MCQs, இப்படி ரீனல் சிஸ்டம் பற்றி டாப் டு பாட்டம் ஃபுல் MCQs இன்றைக்கி பார்க்கலாம். ஓகே, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின், வாட் இஸ் தி நேம் ஃபார் தி என்ட்ரி பாயிண்ட் டு தி கிட்னி ஃபார் நர்வ்ஸ், பிளட் வெசல்ஸ், ureters and lymphatics? Calyx, hilus, pelvis, pyramid. இதுக்கான ஆன்சர் ஆப்ஷன் பி, ஹைலஸ். எல்லா இந்த வீடியோ பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் எல்லா ஆன்சருக்கான ரீசன் வந்து கீழவே இங்கே மென்ஷன் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். எல்லா MCQஸ்க்கும் நீங்கள் ரெஃபர் பண்ணிக்கோங்க, சரிங்களா? ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட், வேர் ஆர் ஆல் ஆஃப் தி glomeruli ஆஃப் தி கிட்னி located? In the medulla, in the columns, in the pyramids, in the cortex. Answer is option D, in the cortex. Next, what structure does the blood from the afferent arteriole enter? The peritubular capillaries, the vasa recta, the glomerulus, Bowman's capsule. Option C, the glomerulus. Next, which part of the nephron is impermeable to water? Proximal convolutal tubule, distal convoluted tubule in the presence of ADH, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, descending limb of loop of Henle. Answer is option C, ascending limb of the loop of Henle. Next question, solutes move from the blood in the glomerular capillaries into the Bowman's capsule due to which of the following influences? Osmotic pressure difference, diffusion down the concentration gradient, by active transport, hydrostatic pressure difference. Correct answer is option D, hydrostatic pressure difference. Next, which material is actively reabsorbed from the filtrate in the kidney tubule? Sodium, bicarbonate, chloride, water. Option A, sodium. Next, which material is secreted into the filtrate in the kidney tubule? Water, urea, sodium, albumin. Correct answer is option B, urea, waste product. Next, which of the following happens as we descend deeper into the kidney medulla? Concentration of the intestinal fluid does not change, concentration of the intestinal fluid increases, concentration of the filtrate with the tubule increases, concentration of the interstitial fluid decreases. Correct answer is concentration of the intestinal fluid increases. Option B. Option B the correct answer. Next question, what molecule catalyzes the formation of angiotensin 1? Carbonic anhydrase, calcitriol, erythropoietin, renin. Option D, renin. Next question, how are cortical nephrons different from juxtamedullary nephrons? Cortical nephrons lie almost entirely outside the renal medulla. Cortical nephrons have an associated vasa recta. Next, cortical nephrons have a longer tubule. There are fewer cortical nephrons. Correct answer is option A. Cortical nephrons lie almost entirely outside the renal medulla. Next question, which part of the renal tubule is impermeable to water? Ascending limb of the loop of Henle, the collecting duct, the proximal convoluted tubule, the thin portion of the loop of Henle. Correct answer is option A, the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. Next question, in the glomerulus, what is the method by which solutes are transferred from the blood to the Bowman's capsule? Diffusion, active transport, secretion, filtration. Option D, filtration. Next question, how does the juxtaglomerular apparatus respond when systemic blood pressure is too high? Option A, juxtaglomerular cells send a message to afferent arteriole to dilate. The macula densa sends a message to the afferent article to constrict. The macula densa sends a message to afferent arteriole to constrict. The granular cells release renin, which causes systemic arterioles to constrict. Correct answer is option C, the macula densa sends a message to afferent arteriole to constrict. Option C. Okay, what is the body's response to a rise in blood plasma osmotic pressure? Options பார்க்கலாம். Option A, the anterior pituitary release ADH which makes the renal tubule permeable to water. The posterior pituitary release ADH which makes the renal tubule permeable to water. Option C, the juxtaglomerular apparatus releases renin which promotes diuresis. The glomerular filtration rate increases, so more urine is produced. Option B, posterior pituitary produces ADH. இதுதான் வந்துட்டு answer. Option B the answer. Next, what is kidney tubules response to rise in blood pH? Bicarbonate ions are created from carbonic acid and absorbed into the blood. Hydronium ions are secreted into the filtrate where they are buffered by bicarbonate ions in the filtrate. Next, bicarbonate ions are secreted into the filtrate while hydronium ions are absorbed from the filtrate into the blood. Hydronium ions are secreted into the filtrate while bicarbonate ions are absorbed from the filtrate into the blood. Option C, bicarbonate ions are secreted into the filtrate whereas hydronium ions are absorbed from the filtrate into the blood. Option C தான் வந்து correct answer. Next question, how does the composition of filtrate change as it travels through the loop of Henle? In ascending limb, volume increases, descending limb concentration increases, whereas in descending limb, volume decreases, ascending limb concentration decreases. Next, in the descending limb, volume decrease, ascending limb concentration increase. Next, ascending limb volume decrease and descending limb concentration decrease. Correct answer is option B. Option B தான் இதுக்கான correct answer. Next question, what is the entry point of the kidney for the renal artery, renal vein, lymphatics and nerves called? Option B, hills. இது வந்துட்டு ஒரு முக்கியமான கொஸ்டின். இது வந்து நிறைய கொஸ்டின் பேப்பரில் கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. இது வந்துட்டு என்ட்ரி பாயிண்ட் என்ன அண்ட் நர்வ் எண்டிங் என்ன, எண்டிங் பாயிண்ட் அதோட நேம் என்ன, இந்த மாதிரி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் நிறைய எக்ஸாம்ஸில் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. ஸோ நீங்கள் வந்துட்டு இந்த பார்ட்டை வந்துட்டு கொஞ்சம் டீட்டெயிலாகவே பார்த்துக்கோங்க. In what part of the kidney are the glomeruli located? In the cortex, in the medulla, in the hills and in the minor calyces. Answer is option A, cortex. Next, 4 sections of vasculature of the kidney tubule are listed below. Which one lists them in correct order of blood flow from left to right? Efferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole, peritubular capillaries. Efferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole, peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries, efferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole. Glomerulus, efferent arteriole, peritubular capillaries and efferent arteriole. Correct answer என்னன்னா option B, efferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole, peritubular capillaries. Next question, what method does the glomerulus of kidney nephron use to remove the dissolved substance from the blood to the filtrate? Option A, active transport. B, diffusion along the concentration gradient. C, high hydrostatic pressure. D, osmosis. Option C, high hydrostatic pressure. When the glomerular filtration rate is too high, the macula densa sends a message to efferent arteriole. What is the effect of this message? Granular cells of arteriole walls release renin. Efferent arteriole dilates. It inhibits the action of ATP and adenosine on the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole constricts. Correct answer is option D, efferent arteriole constricts. Next question, what is the effect of antidiuretic hormone on the kidney tubules? It causes sodium to be absorbed from the filtrate into the tubular cells. It causes the concentration of urine to decrease. It causes the filtrate volume to increase. Walls of the collecting duct to become permeable to water. Correct answer is option D. Causes the walls of the collecting duct to become permeable to water. Next question, the descending limb of the loop of Henle is permeable to water, so water diffuses out of the descending limb into the interstitial fluid. What happens to this water? Options பார்க்கலாம். It flows through the renal papillae into the minor calyces to become urine. It diffuses into the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. It diffuses into the peritubular capillaries and ascending vasa recta for return to the blood. It diffuses into the filtrate for elimination from the body. Correct answer is option C. Next question. The concentration of blood is 280 to 300 but race is 1200. In which situation? In the vasa recta of the kidney, in the severe dehydration, in the peritubular capillaries of the kidney, in severe overhydration. Correct answer is option A. Which one of the following is not produced by the kidneys? Aldosterone, renin, erythropoietin, calciferol. Aldosterone. Produced by adrenal cortex, not by kidneys. Okay, next. What is the collective term applied to the proximal and distal converter tubules? The loop of Henle, that is the nephron loop, and the glomerular capsule. The renal corpuscle, renal tubule, nephron, renal capsule. Renal tubule, option B. Which list of structures is present in the correct order in which urine passes through them on the way to the bladder? Ureter, minor calyx, major calyx, renal pelvis, papilla. Okay, correct answer is option C. Papilla, minor calyx, major calyx, renal pelvis, ureter. Okay, va? Next. When systemic blood pressure increases, how does the kidney respond to maintain glomerular filtration rate? Afferent arterioles dilates, afferent arteriole constricts, afferent arteriole dilates, afferent arteriole constricts. Option D. Afferent arteriole constricts the correct answer. Next. What may be correctly said of the juxtaglomerular apparatus? Options. Juxtaglomerular cells are chemoreceptors, granular cells are chemoreceptors, macula densa are chemoreceptors, macula densa are machanoreceptors. Correct answer is option C. Macula densa cells are chemoreceptors. Next. What part of the nephron performs the majority of the reabsorption of materials from the filtrate? Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct, the proximal convoluted tubule. Option D. Proximal convoluted tubule. Which of the following mechanisms operates in the nephron to maintain pH balance in the body? Bicarbonate ions form the tubule cells and secreted into the filtrate. Hydrogen ions are secreted into the filtrate. Hydrogen ions transported into the peritubular capillaries. Bicarbonate ions are secreted into the filtrate. Hydronium ions, option B. Hydronium ions being secreted in the filtrate is the correct answer. Next. What is the name of the tube that connects the bladder to the kidney? Renal tubule, ureter, urethra, collecting duct. Option B. Ureter. Next. Which of the following may be said of the renal medulla? It is the more superficial part of the kidney. It contains all of the glomeruli, produces adrenaline and noradrenaline. It contains primates and columns. Option D. Primates and columns. Next. What influences and structures facilitate blood filtration in the renal corpuscle? High osmotic pressure in the capillaries and sinusoidal capillaries. High hydrostatic pressure in capillaries and vein center capillaries. High osmotic pressure in the capillaries and vein center capillaries. High hydrostatic pressure in the capillaries and sinusoidal capillaries. Option B. Hydrostatic pressure in the capillaries and vein center capillaries. Next. In which part of the nephron does most of the reabsorption of water and solutes occur? Then the same question, repeated question. Proximal converter tubule. Which statement about kidney anatomy is correct? Cortex is superficial to the medulla and contains all of the glomeruli. Cortex is deep to the medulla and contains the collecting tubules. The pyramids are in the cortex and contain the collecting tubules. Pyramids are in the medulla and contain all of the glomeruli. Correct answer is cortex is superficial to the medulla. Option A the answer. Next. The renal tubule of nephron includes which of the following structures? Proximal convoluted tubule, vasa recta, Bowman's capsule, collecting duct. Distal convoluted tubule, ascending loop of Henle, Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule. Next. Descending limb of loop of Henle, collecting duct, distal convoluted tubule, ascending limb of loop of Henle. Glomerulus, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, Bowman's capsule. Option B the correct answer. Next. How does the descending limb of the loop of Henle differ from the ascending limb? Ascending limb differ from descending limb. Descending limb is permeable to water, but impermeable to sodium chloride. Option C தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. Next, what effect is achieved by having an arteriole that supplies blood and another that drains blood from the glomerulus? Blood pressure within the glomerulus can be manipulated. Option B தான் வந்து answer. Next question, what is the resulting effect of renin being released by the kidney? Angiotensin II is formed, aldosterone is released, macula densa sends paracrine message to afferent arterioles are constricted. Option A, angiotensin II is formed. Option A is correct. Okay, next, what is the effect on the kidney caused by increasing the release of ADH? The collecting duct becomes more permeable to water. Ascending limb of the loop of Henle becomes impermeable to water. Descending limb of the loop of Henle becomes permeable to water. Collecting duct becomes impermeable to water. Option A, collecting duct becomes more permeable to water. Option A, correct answer. Next, the kidneys produce all of the following except one. Which one? Erythropoietin, angiotensinogen, hydronium ions, bicarbonate ions. இதுவும் வந்துட்டு repeated question தான். Option B தான் correct answer. Next, which one of the following is the part of renal tubule? Glomerulus, vasa recta, collecting duct, macula densa. Option D, macula densa. Next, from which part of the nephron is the greatest portion of sodium absorbed from the filtrate? Bowman's capsule, proximal converter tubule, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, distal converter tubule. Option B, proximal converter tubule. இதுவும் வந்துட்டு most repeated question தான். Same question தான், வேற angle கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Complete the following sentence correctly. Angiotensin II option stimulates the adrenal glands to release aldosterone, increases potassium reabsorption from the filtrate, increases sodium excretion at the kidneys, reduces our thirst. Option A, release aldosterone. Option A the correct answer. What part of the renal tubule is not able to reabsorb water? The descending limb of the loop of Henle, proximal convoluted tubule, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule. Option C, ascending limb of loop of Henle. The influence that drives blood filtration in kidney is? Option B, filtration, fluid pressure difference between blood in the glomerulus and filtrate in the Bowman's capsule. Next, what does renal system consist of? 2 kidneys, 2 urethra, bladder, 1 ureter. Option B, 2 adrenal glands, 2 kidneys, 1 ureter, 2 urethra, bladder. Option C, 2 adrenal glands, 2 kidneys, 2 ureters, 2 urethra, bladder. 2 kidneys, 1 urethra, bladder, 2 ureters. Option D தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. 2 kidneys, 1 urethra, bladder and 2 ureters. Next, which of the following about the capillaries of glomerulus is not true? Glomerular capillaries are fenestrated. Blood enters and leaves the glomerulus via arterioles. The blood pressure in the glomerular capillaries is higher than in the capillaries in the rest of the body. Glomerular capillaries have smooth muscle in their walls. Option D, glomerular capillaries have smooth muscles in their walls. Next question, which hormone causes an increase in permeability to water in the collecting ducts of kidney? Antidiuretic hormone, aldosterone, angiotensin II, atrial natriuretic hormone. Option A, antidiuretic hormone. Which hormone causes increased sodium resorption in the kidney? Angiotensin I, antidiuretic hormone, vasopressin, aldosterone. Option D, aldosterone. Which type of antihypertensive drugs aims to prevent vasoconstriction? Beta blockers, diuretics, ACE inhibitors, calcium channel blockers. Option D, calcium channel blockers. Next, the kidney produces all but one of the following. Which one? Calcitriol, atrial natriuretic peptide, renin, bicarbonate ions. இதுவும் repeated question தான். Option B, atrial natriuretic peptide. Filtrate that is formed in the kidney contains all of the following except one. Which one? Metabolic waste, electrolytes, plasma proteins, nutrients. Option C, plasma proteins. From which arteriole does blood enter the peritubular capillaries of the nephron? Arcuate, efferent, afferent, renal. Option B, efferent. Option B. Next, what is the term applied to the first process in the urine formation? where some components of blood pass into the Bowman's capsule? Filtration, active transport, dialysis, osmosis. Option A, filtration. To what does the juxtaglomerular apparatus refer? To those nephrons whose loop of Henle penetrate deep into the medulla, to the lamina densa and podocytes that form filtration slits around the capillaries of the glomerulus, to the capillaries that surround the loop of Henle of juxtamedullary nephrons, to certain cells of distal convoluted tubule where it touches the afferent arteriole. Option D, the correct answer. Next question. In what part of the renal tubule reabsorb the least material from the filtrate? Distal convoluted tubule, new loop of Henle, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct together. Option D, the answer. By what name is the condition where nitrogenous waste accumulate in the blood known? Anuria, uremia, polyuria, oliguria. Option B, uremia. Option B. Which statement about kidney anatomy is correct? Renal pyramids are in the pyramids for the medulla. They contain collecting ducts that deliver urine in the minor calyx via papilla. Okay, medulla at the end in the papilla that empties into the minor calyx. Option A தான் வந்துட்டு answer. Next, the kidneys produce all of the following except one. Which one? Enzyme renin, hormone erythropoietin, antidiuretic hormone, vitamin calcitriol. Option C, antidiuretic hormone. இதுவும் repeated question. ஆல்ரெடி மேலேயே 2-3 தடவை இந்த கொஸ்டின் வந்துருச்சு. ஆனால் வேறு கேட்குற ஆங்கிள் மட்டும் வேறு சரியா. நெக்ஸ்ட், in the nephron, if the afferent arteriole dilates and the efferent arteriole constricts, which of the following would be true? Option D, before these units the granular cells would have been released renin. The correct answer. Majority of material reabsorbed from the filtrate is reabsorbed from the renal tubule. Options: after the loop of Henle, in the descending limb of the loop of Henle. Option C, before the loop of Henle, in the ascending limb of the loop of Henle. Correct answer is option C, before the loop of Henle. Next question. What effect does aldosterone have? Increases absorption of sodium from the kidney tubules, make the kidney tubules more permeable to water, catalyzes the formation of angiotensin 1, blocks the release of ADH. Option A, absorption of sodium from the kidney tubules. The kidney produce all of the following except one. Which one? Erythropoietin, aldosterone, renin, active vitamin D. Option B, aldosterone. இந்த கொஸ்டின் வந்து மோஸ்ட் ரிப்பீட்டட். நான் இதோட 5-6 தடவை இந்த கொஸ்டின் வந்துருச்சு. கேட்குற ஆங்கிள் மட்டும்தான் வேறு. ஸோ நான் பார்த்துக்கோங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட், which statement about the descending limb of the loop of Henle is true? It is freely permeable to water. It is impermeable to water. It is impermeable to water when NP is present. It is permeable to water when ADH is present. Option A, it is freely permeable to water. Next, in which structure does blood filtration in kidney occur? Macula densa, renal corpuscle, major calyx, vasa recta. இதுவுமே repeated question. Option B. From which part of the nephron is the greatest portion of sodium absorbed from the filtrate? Proximal convoluted tubule, ascending limb of loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct in the presence of aldosterone. Option C, proximal convoluted tubule. இதுவும் வந்துட்டு repeated question தான். Next, what is the purpose of ANP in the urine protection? Stimulate reabsorption of sodium, reabsorption of calcium, reabsorption of sodium inhibition, reabsorption of water. Option C, inhibit reabsorption of sodium. Next, what is the term used to describe the production of an insufficient volume of urine? Insufficient volume of urine வந்துட்டு என்ன? Oliguria. Option D the answer. Next, by what process do water and solutes move from body in the glomerulus into Bowman's capsule? Diffusion, osmosis and diffusion, filtration, dialysis. Option C, filtration. Complete the following sentence correctly. Antidiuretic hormone stimulates our thirst, causes the wall of the collecting duct of the nephron to increase permeability to water, increase sodium excretion at kidneys, stimulates the adrenal glands to release aldosterone. Option B தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. Complete the following sentence correctly. Angiotensin, இதுவும் வந்துட்டு same repeated question மாதிரி தான். மேலே ஆல்ரெடி பார்த்துச்சு. Answer is option A, stimulates the adrenal glands to release aldosterone. Next, Complete the following sentence correctly. Atrial natriuretic peptide causes the wall of collecting duct of the nephron increase in permeability to water, increases sodium excretion at kidneys, causes peripheral vasoconstriction. Adrenal glands to release aldosterone. Option B, increase sodium excretion in the kidneys. What is the place where arteries, veins, lymphatics and nerves enter into the leave the kidney called? Option D, hilus. இது வந்துட்டு repeated question தான். மேலே இந்த question பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா? The nephrons of the kidney consist of Bowman's capsule, loop of Henle, collecting duct, renal tubule, juxtaglomerular apparatus and collecting tubule, glomerulus and juxtaglomerular apparatus, glomerulus, proximal converter tubule, loop of Henle and distal converter tubule. Option D தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. நெஃப்ரானோட பார்ட்ஸும் வந்துட்டு ஒரு தடவை நல்லா பார்த்துக்கோங்க. டென்ட்ரைட்ஸ், ஆக்ஸான், மைலின் ஷீத் இந்த மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, இதில் வந்து கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்கறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு உண்டு. அந்த மாதிரி கொஸ்டின்ஸும் வந்துட்டு நிறைய எக்ஸாமில் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. சரிங்களா? அந்த ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் ஒரு தடவை பார்த்துக்கோங்க. Which list has the blood vessels of nephron is in the correct order of blood flow? கரெக்ட் ஆர்டர் வந்துட்டு என்ன? இந்த கொஸ்டின் வந்து ஆக்சுவலி மேலேயே பார்த்துட்டோம். இதுவும் வந்துட்டு ரிப்பீட்டட் கொஸ்டின் தான். ஆப்ஷன் ஏ, afferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole, peritubular capillaries. ஓகேவா? நெக்ஸ்ட், வாட் பார்ட் ஆஃப் தி renal tubule does not reabsorb water? Juxtaglomerular apparatus, ureter, ascending limb of the loop of Henle, collecting duct. Option C, ascending limb of the loop of Henle. The influence that derives blood filtration in the kidney is filtration, fluid pressure difference between the blood and filtrate. Option B தான் இதுக்கான ஆன்சர். நெக்ஸ்ட், what does the presence of aldosterone in the blood cause? Calcium to be absorbed from the DCT, collecting duct to become permeable to water, more bicarbonate to be formed in the tubule cells, more sodium to be reabsorbed from the DCT. Correct answer is option D, more sodium to be reabsorbed. What does the term oliguria refer to? இதையும் வந்துட்டு மேலே பார்த்துட்டோம். oliguria என்னன்ட்டு. இது டெய்லி யூரின் ப்ரொடெக்ஷன். இது வந்துட்டு வேலையோட கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. டெய்லி யூரின் ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் ஆஃப் மச் மோர் தென் 2 liters. டெய்லி யூரின் ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் இஸ் less than 500 ml. Production of less than 50 ml of urine in a day. Condition of excessive concentration of urea in the blood. Option B, 500 ml, less than 500 ml தான் வந்துட்டு கரெக்ட் ஆன்சர். நெக்ஸ்ட், glomerular filtration rate can be altered by all of the following except one. Which one? Constriction of renal tubule by macula densa, constriction of afferent arteriole, decrease in concentration of plasma proteins, vasoconstriction of afferent arteriole. Option A, macula densa does not constrict the tubule. Constriction of renal tubule by macula densa. Next, option A தான் வந்துட்டு ஆன்சர். நெக்ஸ்ட் ஒன் வந்துட்டு, filtrate passes through each of the structures of renal tubule listed below. Which list has the structures are in the correct order? கரெக்ட் ஆர்டர் என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஆப்ஷன் ஏ, ப்ராக்சிமல் கன்வெர்டட் டியூபியூல், டிசெண்டிங் லிம்ப், அசெண்டிங் லிம்ப், டிஸ்டல் கன்வெர்டட் டியூப், கலெக்டிங் டக்ட். இது வந்துட்டு ஒரு ரிப்பீட்டட் கொஸ்டின் தான். வாட் இஸ் தி ரோல் ஆஃப் aldosterone? டு கன்வெர்ட் angiotensin into angiotensin 1, inhibit absorption of sodium, promote absorption of sodium, promote absorption of calcium. Option C, promote absorption of sodium the correct answer. Next, which one of the statements about the collecting ducts is true? Collecting ducts absorbs calcium if parathyroid hormone is present, water if antidiuretic hormone is present, sodium if atrial natriuretic hormone is not present. Option D, urea. Correct answer is option B, water if antidiuretic hormone is present. One way to increase the glomerular filtration rate is to dilate the afferent arteriole and to constrict the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole to constrict afferent arteriole, both afferent and efferent arteriole. Option A, afferent arteriole to constrict efferent arteriole. Option A the answer. 87. Next, the nephron of the kidney consists of which of the following structures? Glomerulus, renal tubule and collecting duct, Bowman's capsule, proximal converter tube, loop of Henle and distal converter tubule, glomerulus and renal tubule and collecting duct. Option C, glomerulus and renal tubule. What name is given to blood vessels that drains blood from the glomerulus after filtration? Vasa recta, afferent arteriole, efferent vein. Efferent means outgoing. Option C, efferent arteriole தான் correct answer. Next. Through which structure must the filtrate move to enter the Bowman's capsule from the glomerulus? Capillary endothelial cell walls, capillary endothelial wall and basement membrane, capillary endothelial wall, basement membrane and podocytes, capillary endothelial wall, basement membrane, podocytes and the vasa recta. Option C, capillary endothelial wall, basement membrane of podocytes. Option C தான் வந்துட்டு answer. What is the function of angiotensin 2? Okay, இதுவும் வந்துட்டு ஒரு repeated question தான். Causes constriction of systemic arteries மேலேயே பார்த்தாச்சு. Next, what is the term meaning the production of urea? Diuresis. இதுவும் வந்துட்டு repeated question தான், மேலே பார்த்துட்டோம். Next one. The renal tubule reabsorbs all of the following ions except one. Which one? இதுவும் வந்துட்டு அப்படியே same to same repeated question ஒன்று. Option D, ammonium ions. Next, which section of the renal tubule is permeable to urea? Descending limb of the loop of Henle, ascending limb of loop of Henle, collecting duct in the presence of aldosterone, proximal convoluted tubule. Option D, PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. What name is given to the blood vessel that connects the capillaries to the glomerulus to the vasa recta? Macula densa, afferent arteriole, efferent vein. Option C, efferent arteriole. Option C the answer. The gradient in osmotic concentration of the interstitial fluid in the medulla of the kidney is caused by sodium and chloride pumped out of the ascending limb of the loop of Henle and urea. Option B தான் வந்துட்டு answer. Next, which of the following chemicals is produced by kidney? Angiotensinogen, bicarbonate ions, sodium ions, vitamin C. Answer is option B, bicarbonate ions. Option B. 97. What could be concluded of a person who has produced a total of 100 ml of urine that is bright yellow and has strong odor? They are well hydrated, their urine will have high specific gravity, they are uncontrolled diabetic, they have more than the unusual concentration of bilirubin in their urine. Option B, they have high specific gravity. In which section of the renal tubule is most water reabsorbed? Descending limb, ascending limb, collecting duct, proximal convoluted tubule. Option D, proximal convoluted tubule the correct answer. Next, under what conditions will kidney produce concentrated urine? Glomerular filtration rate is high, glomerular filtration rate is low, atrial natriuretic peptide and aldosterone are present in blood, antidiuretic hormone and aldosterone are present in the blood. Option D, antidiuretic hormone and aldosterone are present in the blood. Next question, which one of the following is the function of renal system? Produce bile, produce enzyme renin, produce hormone aldosterone, produce vitamin K. Option B, renin. Next, functional unit of kidney that filter blood and produces urine is called nephron. Direct question. இந்த question வந்து ரொம்பவே முக்கியமான question. இந்த nephronோட structure, parts, absorption இதெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு நல்லா பார்த்துக்கோங்க. Next, in the kidney the filtrate passes through several structures on its way to becoming urine. Which of the following list presents this structure in the correct order? Glomerulus, proximal convoluted tube, loop of Henle, distal convoluted collecting duct. இதுவுமே வந்துட்டு ஒரு repeated question. Option C தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. சரிங்களா, இந்த questionமே வந்துட்டு இதோட 3 times repeat ஆயிடுச்சு இல்லையா? ஸோ அதுக்கு தான் சொல்கிறேன், நெஃப்ரானோட ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் இதெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ்லாம் வந்துட்டு நல்லா ஒரு தடவை பார்த்துக்கோங்க. அண்ட் நார்மல் வேல்யூஸுமே வந்துட்டு ஒரு தடவை பார்த்துக்கோங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட், விச் ஆஃப் தி ஃபாலோயிங் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ஸ் அபவுட் தி ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸ் இன் தி லூப் ஆஃப் Henle இஸ் கரெக்ட்? Ascending limb is permeable to water, descending limb is impermeable to urea, descending limb is impermeable to water, ascending limb is impermeable to solutes. Option B, the descending limb is impermeable to urea. If aldosterone is present in the blood, what happens in the distal convoluted tubule? Aldosterone promotes absorption of sodium from the filtrate. Option A தான் வந்துட்டு ஆன்சர். இதுவுமே வந்துட்டு repeated question தான். Next, what is renin? Enzyme released by juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney when arterial pressure fails. It catalyzes the formation of angiotensin II in the lungs. It is rapid acting intense vasoconstrictor of arterioles. Protein that stimulates the adrenal glands to release aldosterone. Option A, the correct answer. Specific gravity of 1. Which of the following is most likely to be the specific gravity of urine sample? 1.015. Option B தான் வந்துட்டு correct answer. Next, which of the following are organic waste produced by the body? Uric acid and ammonium ions, amino acids and potassium ions, albumin and globulin, urea and sodium ions. Option A, uric acid and ammonium ions. What is indicated if the specific gravity of patient's urine is high? Patient has kidney disease, urine concentration is high, patient is well hydrated, urine density is low. Urine concentration is high. Which ion does aldosterone stimulate the kidneys to reabsorb? Calcium, sodium, potassium, bicarbonate. Sodium. இதுவுமே repeated question. If the urine specific gravity has measured to be 1.03, an interpretation would be that person was dehydrated, person was well hydrated, urine sample had density less than water, urine was dilute. Option A, person was dehydrated. If a urine specific gravity was measured to be 1.003, an interpretation would be that a person was hydrated, dehydrated, less than water, urine is concentrated. Option B, well hydrated. Which of the following statements about urine specific gravity is wrong? Option B, urine specific gravity value of 1.015. Okay, and give that the specific gravity of urine sample is 1.009. Which of the following statements is correct? Patient is dehydrated. Sample contains 1.099 millimoles per liter of dissolved particles, 1.009 millimole of dissolved solutes, 1.09 gram per ml. Option D, the correct answer.